This is the first time I've ever really told my story in depth. That morning I was watching the planes take off, and it was a beautiful September day.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that.
We were actually watching the planes go into the tower on TV. It was a very unique situation in the fact that at the time our military was trying to wrap their heads around exactly what was going on. And at the time I was working for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, so we were trying to get as much information as we could. But at the time we didn't know exactly what was going on. People were trying to piece together the situation. They thought it might have been a civilian plane.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difficult moment for America. Today we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
I was on the east side of the Pentagon, and I was trying to take back a service vehicle that we had. So I just left the building, and I was on the east side, on the Reagan National side of the Pentagon, and the plane had struck at that point. So the building shook. You didn't really know what was going on. To be able to move that kind of an infrastructure is an incredible impact. And the surreal part of it is the simple fact that if the plane would have came from Reagan National Airport, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. It's still hard to watch any documentary that has to do with 9/11. The 2 hardest phone calls that I had to make that day, one was to my mom to let her know I was still alive, and 2 to my fiance, my current wife. I'm sorry. Just being able to have my mom wrap her mind around the fact that she couldn't see me again until she got that phone call was really hard for me to accept. So on these days, every year I have to make sure that I put my life in perspective and count the blessings that I have. But it fundamentally changed me for probably 3 to 4 years. There was a point in my life I didn't even associate myself with 9/11. I forgot that I was a part of 9/11. It's just one of those things. I had a very small part in that day compared to the people who went into the towers, you know, the people that went inside the Pentagon when it was on fire to bring out their comrades. I was on the opposite side, so I was actually trying to help evacuate the building as opposed to actually going back in. It was a very surreal day.
Today our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could.
Had I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have changed a single thing. I would have still liked to have done more on that day. There are days that it may sound crazy to you, but I wish I was closer so I could have done more. I wasn't allowed to that day. I may not be here now to actually serve our athletes, but at the time, just serving my country was everything to me, and I would do it all over again. It's not that far removed. It's 20 years ago, and every year that we get farther away from 9/11, we forget. And at the time, there was a slogan that we will not forget, and unfortunately we are. And I hope by simply rerunning documentaries and having interviews like this that we remember who died that day, who gave their everything for others that they didn't know.